using the humblest and simplest of tools, combining textures and colors, fabrics and fiber. We tell the stories of our lives one stitch at a time. Welcome to Antique Needleworkers. Well, hello and welcome to Antique Needleworkers. My name is Shellie and this is my channel about cross stitch and all my crafty endeavors. And I'm so glad that you've joined me here today. If this is your first time here, I thank you so much for joining me. And if you are a longtime subscriber, I thank you for coming time and time again. Well, hello, my friends. I'm so excited to be here with you today. Today is going to be a jam-packed episode. I have not caught up with you in my making in quite some time. You know, I have been preparing to go to market, which I will be leaving in just T-minus a few days. And I'm so excited about that, but we need to catch up, and I needed to show you all the things that I've been doing outside of designing and outside of preparing for market. So I will tell you, I have a chock full of nuts here. I have cross stitch and a lot of it. I have knitting and crochet and needlepoint and Crewel embroidery, just a whole lot of things. I have some fully finished items that are really, really neat in the way that I finish them. And then I've got a big pile of haul. So you're just going to get the kitchen sink today. So it's been a while and I have not done a maker's moment. So before all of the beauty shots of all of the finishes and all of the whips and things start, how about we do a maker's moment? If you're new here, sometimes I hop on here and in my videos, I will do what I call a maker's moment. And it's where I try to speak an encouraging word to you that has to do with making. I love the topic of making beauty. I am highly inspired by other designers and other artists. And I love the camaraderie of talking about making, and maybe not even just making. Today's is not about making cross stitch, but it's about making. So I'm going to take some time right now and do a maker's moment. So today I want to talk about, there's different types of making. You can do a handcraft, may it be cross stitch, may it be woodwork, may it be pottery. And those are all tangible, physical making modalities, and that's a type of artistry. There's another form of making, and it's hospitality. Have you ever gone to someone's home and they've made everything just so, and it's just so breathtaking or awe-enveloping that it was as if you had been sitting inside of a portrait, because when you walked in, they had worked so hard to create the environment that you're sitting in. That's another type of making. Today, I want to talk about the art of conversation and words. Someone who I am very highly inspired by is the artist Deanne Fitzpatrick. She is a rug hooker. But if you've been here for a while, you know that I often use her Meditations for Makers book, and I use that in my Maker's Moment spots. She also has a book called Sunday Letters. She actually has a stack of books that she's written, because on the opposite side of her rug hooking, I'm going to tell you, Deanne Fitzpatrick is just so talented with words. And words are important. You know, there's something that you can't take back. Once they're said, they go in the ears, they go in the mind, they settle in the soul. And they're there forever. And even though despite you might walk out of the room, the recipient will walk away with either something wonderful and beautiful or sometimes not so wonderful and beautiful. And so I wanted to talk about this. Last year in January, Deanne invited me onto her podcast, Creating Beauty, and I was so thrilled about that. There is a copy of the video of that from last January in my Flosstube lineup, so if you want to watch that, you can go back. But it was just such an honor for me to be invited by someone I look up to so highly. And I look up to her not just in her rug hooking. The artistry behind her rug hooking and her making modality with her hands, really, it was what drew me into her. But what makes me be enveloped by her is her use of words and conversation. Last year, I learned something about myself in that podcast that I didn't know about myself. Part of choosing wisely your words and making a beautiful conversation that can feel like an enveloping hug or can feel like a warm room or an embrace is both recipient and giver listening. And she is, Deanna's not just a magnificent, she doesn't have just the art of magnificently speaking and writing. I learned very quickly in that space of that interview for her podcast that she's also a tremendous listener. And I learned from that. In that interview, it was about halfway through, she asked me a question. And she said, "You're curious." And I said, "Why, yes. Why, yes, I am. I want to know everything about everything." And since that interview and that revelation to myself, I understand myself better than I ever could have understood myself. I kind of understand what makes my gears tick. And I really thought I knew myself. But it was the act of Deanne listening and then her words. And you know, when you sit and you speak to someone, have you ever been in a conversation and when you walk away from that, you think that was a beautiful thing? You know, that conversation, and I'm going to tell you something that I've sat for the last year and thought about. And I mean, it's not that I hadn't thought about it before in my life, but when you have conversations and you choose your words wisely, it's like planting a garden. And, you know, since that conversation last year with Deanne, she planted seeds in the garden of my life and they've blossomed. And I love that. And when I think back on that conversation that I had with her, it's as if it was an embrace that keeps on giving. And I just, you know, when you walk away from one of those conversations, you just feel so good. You feel so light. Conversations in the art of using words, I think that we're so instantaneous nowadays that we just speak and we don't think about the words that we speak. We don't curate those things. And I'm not talking about being fake. So let me just stop right there and say, I'm not talking about ginning up a conversation. I'm talking about being authentic and genuine. And when you walk away from one of those conversations that are great or that are not so great, it can be a garden or it can be a grave. And I find that that one conversation that I'm using as an example today has been a garden. And I'm going to tell you, if I could walk with you down the rows of the garden that Deanne planted in my heart and that kind, sweet, loving, embracing conversation that I had with her, there would be rows and rows of beautiful roses and zinnias, and they would be fragrant. And there would be rows and rows of vegetables that would be nourishing. And I have gone back and smelled the roses from that conversation, and I've been nourished by the wonderfulness of that conversation in words. And I just have to tell you, that's an art, to have a beautiful conversation, because you have to stop and you have to think and you have to be circumspect before you do that. And I have spent the last year trying to work on that in my own life, because when I have a conversation with you, or when I have a conversation with anyone, I want them to feel refreshed. I want them to feel encouraged. And I've been really working on that. I think that we, in the day and age that we live in, we sit behind cameras and we just pop off the very next thing that comes off of our mind, or we put the next comment on the next post on social media, or we write an email and we haven't been circumspect about or taken the time to think about it. And when we do those things, generally a lot of times, you're not on the other end of it, seeing the facial inflections or things like that. And sometimes I've gotten texts and people have not meant anything by it. And I thought, oh my. And I don't know how to take it. And so I think that choosing our words and thinking about them as an art form and thinking about them as a gift. You know, I received an email this week from a beautiful, beautiful stitcher who bought one of my patterns, and her name was Blair. Hi, Blair. How are you, my friend? And she sent me an email that she did not need to send me. And she said, you know, I'm a giver and I love to give, and I don't have enough money or time to give to everyone on the planet. But you know what I can do is I can speak. And so she wrote me this email because she was so touched by my design that she wanted to thank me for it, and she wanted to use her words to give me a gift back. It was exactly what I'm talking about. It's exactly like that conversation with Deanne Fitzpatrick last year, and it hoed a row in the garden of my life. And so Blair, I thank you for that. And I want to be that person. Every day I want to be better. I want to be better for you. I want to be better for me, but I really want to be better for Jesus. And so, so today my maker's moment is practice the art of your words. Use them as gifts. They, when I read the email from Blair, she didn't have to do that. She brought me to tears because of her kindness and the, absolute unnecessary. She didn't have to write an email to me. She told me a little bit about her life, and I love that. You know, I love to hear from you. I love when I go to the P.O. box and I receive a letter and it's just somebody telling me about their life. You get to hear about my life all the time, but I love to hear about yours. And so today, my maker's moment is practice the art of beautiful conversation. Use it as a gift for other people. Use it as a gift into our universe, into our world. And I think that when we do those things, life can be a garden. And but when we don't, it can be we can dig a grave, because I can think about conversations I've had and I've thought, oh gosh. And then I've thought about it, and it's just drugged me down and drugged me down. And sometimes I'm the giver of the not good conversation. You know, I don't want to have those. I'm never going to live a perfect life, and I'm never going to say all the right things. And I'm not talking about perfection. I'm talking about intentionalness. And so just as we sit intentionally and stitch our pieces, let's intentionally choose how we speak, because we don't know the influence that those words. I hope Deanne watches. She does watch my videos sometimes. And I hope that today, if you're watching, Deanne, I hope that you know that the garden that you planted for me is so lush that the vines fill the rows. And thank you. And thank you, Blair. And thank you to all the rest of you. I think about the comments on my videos. They're just, oh, they cheer me on. Thank you so much for those things. And so today, that's my maker's moment. Practice the art of beautiful conversations. They give you more than you give away. And so that's my maker's moment for today. Okay, so I got a whole lot of making on this table. And so I have starts and finishes, and I don't even know where to begin. I think I'm going to show you a fully finished item that you have been watching in progress for quite some time. Oop, I'm already dropping things. I caught it between my knees. Okay, so over the last bit of time, you have been watching me stitch Jane Parsons. And I showed it to you the last time I showed it to you, and I said it was finished and there was a flower missing. And one of you beautiful people, see, I love you. You showed me that I was missing that flower. But I did finish that flower, and I took it to my local needlework shop down in Florida, the Crafty Framer, Miss Peggy and Rick and Anna. Hello, I love you all. And Anna framed my piece, and so I have Jane Parsons right here for you. Isn't she lovely? Now I want to try to get a tight close-up. Look at this frame. It was sitting on the table, this molding was sitting on the table for, Anna was debuting it for another finish. And I said, oh, I love that. And so, so they said, we have plenty of that molding and we will do that for you. Anna patted it. I've never patted a finish, and there's no glass on it because the padding makes it puff forward. And I just think they did an absolute phenomenal job. She is stitched on 32 count fabric with the Swadi Albertsons wool. I got it from Burgett at the Wishing Thorn. This is her pattern. And so the linen came with it. And of course you have, this is 28 count, not 32 count, because you have to use the 28 count with the wool. And it was the called for wool Swadi Albertsons. The only thing that I did differently is right here in the cartouche, I put my own initials and the year 2025 when I finished it. And I stitched it 1 wool thread over 2 linen threads, 28 count, called for linen that was sent with my kit from Burgett. And she is just the cat's meow, and I can't wait to hang her up. So that is Jane Parsons from the Wishing Thorn. Okay. The next thing I have to show you is I was on Facebook, and my dear sweet friend, Ruthie Cole, had showed where she lives at the clubhouse, they had a day to display your crafts, and she took her beautiful stitching and she took her beautiful quilting. And when I saw this piece on the table that from her photographs, I immediately messaged her and I was like, Ruthie, what is that? That is absolutely gorgeous. And so she told me what it was, and she said, I'm sending it to you. It was sent to me in 2 days. And what that piece was Cordelia Ransbury, 1847 by Samplers Remembered. And I am stitching this on the called for 36 count Havana by Weeks Dye Works. And I am using, you know what? She had a conversion. Let me look really quick, because what I did, no, she had a conversion, but I'm using the called for. And they're Gentle Arts sampler threads. There is only 2 threads that are not the called for threads, and that is 644, and I'm using it, I think, in place of, I should pull out the thing. Wait just one second. Let me pull out the thread legend so that I can speak to you properly about this. Okay. I am using all of the Gentle Arts threads, except for I'm using 644 DMC for flax, because I didn't at the day have flax. And then I didn't have dried thyme, so I'm using 732 DMC instead of the dried thyme. But everything else is the called for. You know what? Nope. Copper. I have it. It must be down in the bag. I didn't have copper either. Okay, I didn't. Here it is. And I'm using DMC 402. But everything else, so copper, I replaced it with 402. Flax, I've replaced it with 644. And then dried thyme, I replaced it with 732. And everything else is the called for Cordelia, 35 count, pardon me, 35 count Weeks Dye Works Havana. And I'm stitching it 1 thread over 2 linen threads, and this is how far I have gotten. I started this. I was down at my Florida house, and my LNS down there, the Crafty Framer, they have events several times throughout the year, and it's called FAST, Friends All Stitching Together, and it was snow fast, and I loved it. It was my first time to go. Miss Peggy had me stand up. I love her dearly. She's just such an encourager. She just wants to promote everything about the entire community, including designers, and she was so gracious and had me stand up. But I actually started this at Snowfast. I got the copper in and across, and I actually got some of the vine. And then I began to, I worked on it another day or two down there in Florida, and then I put her away for the minute. 35 count Havana by Weeks Dye Works, using the call for colors except for those 3 replacements that I did: 644, 402, and 732. 1 thread over 2 linen threads, and I am loving her. So Ruthie, I got Cordelia started. I'm very excited about it. Would you like to see the pattern one more time? So as you can see, I've got almost over, this is almost to the other side. So you see how that is? So yeah, I've got almost the width of the sampler done. I'm sliding off here. I've got almost the width of it done. So, okay, so that's Cordelia Ransbury by Samplers Remembered. Thank you, Ruthie. And as soon as I get done, I'll send your pattern back, sweetheart. Thank you so much. Okay. Now, let me get this all packed up. I want to try to stay tidy because I have a lot here. And I just found my hoop. I need to take that out too because I don't like to leave my hoops in my bags. Okay. All right. The next thing I worked on, you know that this last year I started on a Mary Cox piece. It was in a magazine. I had been at Guild, and these were on the freebie table, and this is Samplers in Antique Needlework. This is volume 14 and volume 15. My friend Andrea had to bring me this, and she only knew because she watched me on here. But inside of this, these old magazines, don't pass them by because treasures a mundo are in them. This was a piece by Mary Cox. This, between these two magazines, is the entirety of this set, which would have been like a retreat piece. And so this is called Abide Thy Heart by Mary Cox. And inside of this magazine, you do the pattern for the band in the box. You do the pocket, and then you do the pin disc here. This is the front, this is the back, and the next one you do this. I will show you that before I show you where I'm at with this. I got a lot of work done, but let me go. Okay, so in volume 15, you get this sewing pouch, and this is what it looks like opened, but this is what it looks like on the inside. It'll hold your needles, it'll hold your scissors, and all your little things. And so you need, if you want to finish the whole set, you need to have volume 14 and 15. And let me see what year, if I can. See, I don't know that I'm going to be able to find the year, but maybe I can. If you give me just 1 second, I'll look. I can't, but it's volume 14 and 15. Okay. Before I show you what I got done, this is a box that Jude, that is how I got introduced to Timbo's shop. Jude and his family watch my channel. And Jude so graciously, when he saw that I was doing this piece and that I was going to need a shaker box, guess what? Timbo's makes shaker boxes. And so he reached out to me and said, I want to make your box for you. Sorry about that, ran out of battery. Okay, so back to what I was saying. So Jude so kindly created this box for me and sent it from Brisbane, Australia. And it's the exact size to do my beautiful Mary Cox piece. Thanks, Jude. Still love you today for it, friend. Love them. They are also who were custom made the box for my Treasures pattern. But back to Mary Cox. So what have I got done? I am 98% done with the band. Now, this piece, what you're looking at, isn't it pretty? So the first thing you do is you make the band that wraps around the inside of the box, and then you have to make the pocket. The reason why I say this is 98% done, I have to finish this strawberry and finish this strawberry, and then I have to put the little strawberry flowers. Now I want you to take a good look at this, because I'm going to tell you something. There's not one single X on here. This is all 100% specialty stitches. These are all Smyrnas to make this, the letters. This is a diagonal queen stitch over 2. The flowers are rice stitches. The first legs of it are done in a yellow or a gold, and the top are done in the white. And then the body of the strawberries are all queen stitches. This has been just a treat and a joy. I feel like I'm giving myself a gift with every stitch. So what I have to do is those 2 strawberries, and I've put a couple of the strawberry flowers. I got it over to here. So I've got just a couple strawberry flowers in that. And then I need to go around it and do a, oh geez. One moment, please. The stitch just left my mind. I've got to do a nun stitch. Why did that? I'm being 57 again. So I have to nun stitch around the perimeter of that, because I will trim the linen out of that, and then it will be ready to mount to the backing. Now let's look at the backing. This is so neat. My friend Lisa Duffin, Lady Huzzah Presents. Hi, Lise. If you notice in the pattern, this material right here, Lise actually went to the retreat. This is years ago, years and years ago. But guess what she had on hand? Would you look at there? It's the exact fabric. So she has given me enough of the fabric to do the lining of my box and to use on my pieces so that I can finish it exactly how Mary Cox had it. And you know, I'm just going to tell you, Mary is one of my all-time faves. Mary, Jeanette Douglas, Ellen Chester. These are all of the ladies who are teachers, and they taught you to get past just your X's. But listen, if the all X's are all you want to do, that's fine too. But I want to grow and expand constantly. And so to be able to sit with a piece, and on first glance you say, oh, that looks just like beautiful X's. Not a single X. There's an elongated over 1 X that there's 3 of them right there, just to go down from the queen stitches in the stem into the queen stitches into the greenery at the top. That's it. Everything, including that alphabet, is specialty stitches, all Smyrna to make that. And it just, I get so tickled every time I work on this, and I'm so close to a finish with this for the band that goes around. Now, the next thing I will do is this pocket piece, and then I will do these, and then I'll mount and finish the box inside so that it looks like this right here. And then I'll move on to this. This is going to be a feature piece that I'm going to work on. What I mean by feature, a focus piece. I'm going to focus on this. I have been focusing because I really want to get this in my beautiful box that Jude gave me. So that's Mary Cox, Abide Thy Heart, from samplers and Antique Needleworks, or unless you can find the old retreat piece. Okay, and so I did not have the threads. Some of the threads, you know, piece was from a way bit ago. Let me tell you the name of my fabric before I put this away. I'm so sorry about that I didn't tell you that yet. Did I drop something? I dropped the other magazine. That's okay. Let me find, I know what my fabric is. It's Tumbleweed, I believe. Let me take everything out of it because I want to tell you everything. Okay, 32 count Tumbleweed Lugana from Color and Cotton. And I chose because everything was a specialty stitch. I wanted to make sure that I used a Lugana because you can execute any specialty stitch so beautifully and masterfully on an even weave. So, and it called for 32 count so that it would match the size of the box. So 32 count, Tumbleweed, Color and Cotton, Tumbleweed. Okay, and then the colors I looked at the pictures. Okay, some of the stuff I couldn't get. And so I was like, I'm just going to pull my own colors. So for my red, I'm using Simply Shaker from Gentle Arts, Rose Garden. I am using Piney Wood for my greenery. I'm using Heirloom Gold that's in the pistils in the center of the rice stitches for the flowers, the strawberry flowers. And then I'm using Roasted Marshmallow for the outside legs of that stitch. There's some other places where we need two other colors. So, and it was a brown and kind of like this colory. So this is Cider Mill Brown and Picnic Basket. They're all Gentle Arts that I chose. So Cider Mill Brown, Picnic Basket, Roasted Marshmallow, Heirloom Gold, Piney Woods, and Rose Garden. Those are my colors for mine. So if you find the magazines and you can't find the threads, that's what my conversion is. And I think they look really good. So that was something I worked on, a work in progress. Okay, and then the next thing I worked on, I am doing a stitch along with my dear friends that I went to when I did my first retreat down in Oklahoma, Robin Givens, Lorraine Rowe, and Michelle Pilgrim, and it is Friends Are the Flowers Friendship Sampler 2021 from Mill on the Floss Samplers. Did you ever wonder what she named that for? I did. The name of her company, her favorite book as a teenager was Mill on the Floss. I bought that book. I forgot to bring it over to show you with my haul. But Mill on the Floss is a classic book, and it was about a mill. And of course, I loved mills. I'm sitting in one on the Floss, which was a river. So Mill on the Floss. Were you ever curious about that? I was. So anyway, this is Friends Are the Flowers. And I'm stitching this with a conversion that Michelle Pilgrim did for us. And this is, she took the DMC threads that she showed, that Mill on the Floss gave for the pattern, and they converted it to flower threads. And so I'm gonna hold that right there, screenshot it, or pause me. And this is what we're doing it right here with the flower threads, and I love it. This is such a comfort stitch. 36 and 40 are my favorite fabrics. Did I hold that long enough? I'm sorry, friends. I'll hold it a little bit while I'm talking to you. 36 and 40 are my favorite. But boy, I love going back to 32. And I never use two threads generally. Occasionally I will if something was started that way. But I will use one thread. And so, so with flower threads, you use one thread, and you have to do it on 32 count because it's a little fatter. And so, anyway, but it's just such a comfort stitch. I'm doing this on 32 count Dirty Teacup by Linen and Flax, and this is my progress. I brought the top border all the way over, and I finished the cartouche in the middle. And you can see that the girls put their initials when we were at the retreat, and my initials are on theirs. And I think what I'm going to do inside of my my wreath cartouche, I think I'm going to do an old-fashioned monogram where I have the big F in the middle and an S and an L for my name on either side of that F, but I've got to chart that. So I'll leave that. So I'm really excited because the other girl that goes on the other side of the wreath, where did I just put that book? Oh, here it is. Okay, so I can't wait. I want to stitch her next and get her in there and do that butterfly. And so then I will work the other side of the border down. But so I'm excited to do the girl in the blue dress. And so that's my progress on that. I got across the top and I finished the wreath cartouche. And that was a lot of fun. 32 count, dirty teacup, linen and flax, or needle and flax, Rachel's linen with the conversion to flower threads. And that is one thing I worked on. What I'm going to show you next was not only a new start, it was also an acquisition. When I was at the Stitch Day at Fast, they had things from the shop there that we could buy. And I'm going to tell you, this is my very first long dog, but I bought fish and ships. Fish and ships. I saw it and I thought, oh, a sampler for my Florida house. How perfect. So this is a long dog sampler, the very first time I've stitched one, and it's fish and ships. I am stitching mine on Witchelt French lace 40 count, and I'm using DMC 926. And I'm going to tell you something. I love this linen. It happened to be there. I bought the linen there. I did have to run to Michael's and pick up the DMC. This is where I'm at. I just got a start on it. Look, there's a little slug. And the seahorse I started, but I got the corner in so I could have some lines of demarcation so that I could get a place to count from. But this linen is so gorgeous. It lends itself to the most beautiful gray or the most beautiful whisper blue. I think it takes on whatever it's near. And I let my husband, I got 5 different blues. And my husband, you know, I was like, okay, so I bought these 5 different blues and I'm going to let you pick the color that you think would convey the best for our house in Florida. And so he picked that, and it is DMC 926. And again, this is French lace by Witchelt. You're going to see a design from me on this. I'm going to tell you something. My friend Arlene Cohen from Works by ABC told me about this linen. I remember her talking about how gorgeous it was, and then I didn't think about it again until it was sitting there at the fast stand. I was like, oh, that's that linen. And I have to say, this camera will never convey how beautiful this linen is. It's gorgeous. Long dog sampler, one thread over 2 linen threads, DMC 926, 40 count, French lace by Witchelt. And that was an acquisition, a new start, and yeah, and now it's a whip. The next thing is that it was an acquisition as well, and it came in this box. My bestie Carrie turned 50, and she did a stitch along. And inside here was my kit. And my friends Rebecca and Beth from My Sister Sampler. Hi, Rebecca. Hi, Beth. Can't wait to see you next week. They did this beautiful sampler adaptation for Carrie's birthday. It's absolutely beautiful. And so Carrie put together some beautiful kits. And there's Gloriana silks that came with it. These are the yummy, scrumptious Gloriana silks. You got a bag bling when you bought the kit from Carrie. she also put this little bowl so you could put your oars or you could put your scissors and your threads or whatever to sit next to where you were stitching. Also, Tiger Lily's doing clubs, and when you do stitch alongs or things like that, you earn badges. And then you can hook them to a bag. I want every badge that my bestie puts out. So you got your badge in there. You got a little bag to hold your silk. And then you got your linen. And I got 36 count straw. You had some choices, but I got 36 count straw. So I got my kit. I started, and this is how far I've gotten. This is, I finished page 1. So this is page 1 is done. Isn't it gorgeous? It's so Carrie, and the girls did so good. Bravo, Beth and Rebecca. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Bravo, good job, good job, good job, good job. Okay, so that was another thing that I worked on. Okay, I think I'm down to things that are finishes, 100% finishes. Okay, so I'm going to save that because that is not cross stitch. I want to show you all the cross stitch stuff first. Okay, so back on one of the keeper clubs, Carrie designed this piece, Be Your Own Kind of Beautiful. I think you can still get copies of this on her website. By the way, FYI, her website is closed down for a short period of time. She's moving. As a matter of fact, she's packing and getting ready at the beginning of the week to leave with 2 big trailers. But so there's some other things I'm going to show you. And so I'm just going to say this now and I'm going to say this then. I think you can still get her pattern on her website when it opens back up. And when it opens back up, there's another thing I'm going to show you that you can get then too. So bookmark that because you might want to get these things. But anyhow, I digress. This was a pattern she created and it came out with the Keeper Club 1 month. It came with the Gloriana silks, the called for Gloriana silks that she chose. So I used the called for threads that came with the kit. And then I used Needle Bling Designs 36 count marshmallow fluff to do my piece. 36 count, I stitched 1 thread over 2 linen threads, and wait till you see how I finish this. This is a gift for my granddaughter, okay? And when I had talked before about how I had some neat finishes that were not normal, this is one of them. I bought this box, look, in the little drawer. Look at that. I finished it onto and put it in this box. Now Veda is so excited. She's going to put this next to her bed and she's going to put her little tchotchkes in it and she'll have her stitching from her Mimi in there. And you know me, butterflies are a big thing in my family. I've been giving butterflies to my daughter since she was born, and then I give them to my granddaughter and to my daughters-in-law. It's very important. There was an old Martina McBride song, She's a Butterfly, pretty as the crimson sky. Nothing's ever going to bring her down. And because of that song, that's what started it, and now they all give me butterflies back. And so this was a piece, when I saw it, I thought, that's going to Veda. And so this acrylic box, you can find this on Amazon. I am going to put links for this because I'm going to show you some other ones too. Look at this one. Look at this shape. And it's got a drawer. You can get trays. You can get all kind of stuff. This are finishes that the needlepoint world does. And I just moved some of my needlepoint modalities into my cross stitch modalities. And how I did this, let's see if I can pop it out. I don't think I can pop it out. It's just pressed down. Oh, wait a minute. I popped it out. Okay, so I took some sticky board and some batting and I wrapped it around. And then for this, I just took a piece of wool felt and then I glued it on the back. And it's almost like a coaster. And then I just take the drawer and it just fits down in the drawer. And then you take the drawer and it's totally protected, but it's totally decorative. Isn't that not brilliant? And so they have all kinds. Some don't have scallops, some have scallops, some have a divot. They have trays, all kind of stuff. I am going to put links for these. And I just want you to know that when I put an Amazon link, I do have an affiliate link. I make very little from it, but I just want to disclose that yes, those links do have our affiliate links. So just helps a girl out. And so, but anyhow, that is Be Your Own Kind of Beautiful by Tiger Lily Designs. It's stitched with the Gloriana silks that came with it, and it's called for on 36 count marshmallow fluff by Needleworkers Designs, 1 thread over 2 linen threads. I think that is dapper. She's been dying to get this. But that's not the only one I did like that. I had in my whips Love Mini Quaker from the Heart Needle Arts by Wendy. Love Mini Quaker from the Heart Needle Arts by Wendy. And I used .32 count biscuit by Northumberland Sampler Company. And I think I used the called for, maybe, let me see, maybe, let's see, I did. Yeah, I did. Okay, so I used the called for Classic Colorworks. It was Little House Brown, Rose Petal, Sea Shellie, Joshua Tree, and Old Money. And I did it, I think I did this 2 threads. I did use 2 threads, which is not normal, but I did it in a little box as well. And let me tell you something. I put my daughter's initials here because this is for my daughter, Erin, my only daughter. The size of this was odd when it was finished, so it wouldn't fit in any of the acrylic boxes. And I thought, well, I'll just get the closest. And so at the top, I just put, when I wrapped it around the, when I wrapped the piece, I put batting and sticky board behind it, okay? And so I left a little bit open spot there, and I just adhered some lace to it. But I did this one different. I did 2 pieces of sticky board, and this has some fabric on the back that I thought kind of looked like good with it. And then it's just crammed down in there. I know, oh, I can get this out. So that's just how it is. And this side wrapped around, so that side's pretty on the side of the drawer. Okay, and so, and it just, that drawer slides right in. Isn't that awesome? Oops, we can all wrap our piece around some sticky board with batting and finish our own pieces. Is that not neat? So I know that Erin's going to put her jewelry, some pieces of jewelry in hers. And so that's a finish, a fully finish. Isn't that neat? And like I said, there's all kind of sizes. There's big sizes, there's tray sizes, there's all kind of acrylic things that you can get to finish your pieces with. And I will make sure to put links down below so that you can find them easily. And you can just mill around while you're on there. And so that is a fully finished piece. So I can put that linen back away and put those threads back into my stash. And then the next cross stitch piece, I went to the Jingle Ball and I took Annie B's class and I did the Christmas pairs and I did Noel and I finished mine. I stitched mine on 36 Heirloom Tomato from Shakespeare's Peddler, and I used Belsois Silk Oatmeal because that pair is done with oatmeal, and that way it's congruent. It's right here, Belsois Silk's Oatmeal. I did 1 thread over 2 linen threads, and for the back I used the called for Cucumber Lady Dot Creates Velveteen, and this is my finished pair. Isn't it gorgeous? I did some embroidery on my wool for there. And so now she's done. Isn't it pretty? So this is another pair for my collection. Isn't that pretty? I'm just going to turn around and stick it right here with my other pair. There we go. 2 pairs. Okay, so I think that's the bottom. I've hit the bottom of my cross stitch. Now I'm going to move on to other things. So if you're not interested in all my other stuff, which everybody usually is, then thank you for joining me. But I am now going to go on to all of my other making. I did a lot of needlepoint, and because I'll tell you what, when I was working on my market pieces, I'm telling you something, when I could no longer look at a chart, needlepoint, the canvas is painted, so it is the pattern. And so I still wanted to have a needle in my hand. And so when I could no longer look at squares, I would be like, okay, well, I can still stitch. So I got a little kit from, let me tell you, okay, this was a shop. Oh, I thought I had the name of the shop. I don't. Anyhow, I got this piece from a shop in Boston. I am so sorry that I had forgotten the name. I did this as a gift for my daughter. It is a little bee. It's a queen bee. I love it. I did the background. I did it in the brick stitch, and then I did the bee all in basket weave. But then I did a Scotch stitch for the head. And this is a Planet Earth fibers little self-finishing case. Planet Earth fibers, luxury fibers. Okay, so anyway, this is a Planet Earth case, and it's a little faux vegan leather credit card holder. Isn't that neat? So you score it right here. There's a sticky place on it. So you score it and pull the cover off, and then you tuck your piece on and press it, and you self-finish it. But this is for my daughter. Isn't that cool? And then just to add dimension, like I said, I did the brick stitch for the background of that. Did a Scotch stitch in the head, and then a basket weave and continental for the rest of it. So I stitched and fully finished that. And I did that in Pepper Pot Silk, the color Salt, and then Tilly Thomas Essentials Silk. Is this silk? Yeah, it's merino and silk. I used First Mate, Poppy, and Raw Sugar. And so that's the threads that I used, and I love, these fibers. They're so, I love it. And then it came with this little bag. So now that I can give it to her, because I've showed it to you, I'll put it in the little bag that it came with, and now it's wrapped. So now I have a couple gifts for my daughter. Okay, and now I can put these threads up. Okay, the next piece that I want to show you in needlepoint, this is so cool. I'm so excited about this. So my favorite needlepoint shop at my house in Florida is less than a mile and a quarter down the street from my house. It's called the Flying Needle. Hi, Meredith. I love her. She's amazing. Look at they're up the shop on Instagram and the socials. But so when I went in, I saw this hanging over the front window, and I had to have it. It is a tropical backgammon board. Is this the coolest? And so I bought this, and I started it. You can see on the back, because the painted on it's hard to tell on the front. What I started working on was the borders, and I did some of that. And I'll show you the threads that I got for that. It's a big baggie. So it's all in Milan except for those, the flamingos. See the flamingos? Oh, I love it. I'm going to tell you my plans for this. Okay, so this is velvet thread. And so I'm going to do the majority of the flamingo in this velvet delicious thread. And then this Milan, it is merino and silk. So this will be on my birds. And then also this one, this is Milan, and it's silk and merino wool, all this stuff. You could sit and rub it all day. That's for the birds, but so for everything else, it's all in the Milan. And I'll show you the colors. And then I'm going to tell you my plan. My friend Robin is a needlepoint designer. And so I did a consult with her because I had some ideas, because I want to change some things. So like I said, it's all in Milan, merino and silk. And you can see which ones I've opened, that because I've been working on that brown. So these are all the other colors. Okay, now you didn't see my white. The Flying Needles had to order me. It's going to take 12 white, and it's Milan. So I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. Okay, you see that I got these greens to do the spikes on the backgammon board. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to use this green on these spikes. And since they're solid, I'm going to do specialty stitches in them. I'm going to do, I think we decided it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so there's going to be 6 different specialty stitches in the solid green. And then I'm going to do the same ones on the other side, but reverse. So if I do like stitch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I will do, instead of the same one there, on this one, I'll go 1, 2, 3, how I've decided. But I have changed my mind about these spikes. They already have pattern to them. So here I'm going to let the stitches sing. Here I'm going to let the thread sing, and I'm going to tell you how I'm going to do this. I am going to use some of this Milan, but I'm going to tell you the master plan, and I've got to go get some more threads. So let's just say I started on this spike. I want to do on one, I'll do the green in the Milan, but then I'm going to get a shimmery white and do the white in shimmer. But then the next one, I will do I'm going to get a green shimmer and do the green and shimmer on this one and do the Milan in the white, and then alternate on all of those spikes. That way they'll kind of pop because of the shimmer. So then for this, all of the open work in here, in this white, I'm going to do an open work large stitch. And then I'm going a specialty stitch. And then in the two, this is where your pieces, that's the bank pile for your pieces for the game. I'm going to do a denser specialty stitch on both ends. And so that is what my plan is from a backgammon board, and I'm so excited. And this is going to be for my Florida house. And I have found a company. They do have a company that you can, it's almost like the drawer pieces, and it's made for a backgammon board, but it's not the same size. It had to be a specific size to use where you could just lay the piece in there and put the acrylic board over it. So I found a company that will custom make an acrylic tray. And so I'm going to have them custom make, and it's only like $50 or $60. I have to be honest with you, the acrylic tray for the game was like $400. So it's saving me money anyway. So nonetheless, I'm going to have the tray made, but I'm going to also have them cut a custom acrylic piece so that when I sit this down in there, then I put the acrylic piece over it, and then we'll play the game on top of the acrylic and keep people's nasty fingers off my beautiful stitching. And so that is my backgammon board that I got from the Flying Needle. Isn't that the coolest? Love that, love that, love that. Now let me show you another piece of needlepoint that I did that I'm working on. I'm getting close to a finish. Now that I have on a scroll bar. I like to needlepoint with it in my hand because, and you'll see that because I've warped this, I'm gonna have to block it. Because what I do is I roll it up like this and then I stitch. We would call it sewing in hand and cross stitch, but in needlepoint they call it scooping. And so, but you can see, it's so easy to see that I don't even need my, my readers, and I can just hold it in my hand and I stitched in the car. It's so easy. But I wanted to do a little throw pillow for my Florida house. I have a Barca lounger, and I want to put it in the Barca lounger. Now, I want you to, when I show you this, realize that the majority of the shell is not going to be this color. I've changed it to the palette that matches my home. But this is a pillow that I'm doing, as you can see the color change. It's not going to be this bright. For this, I did a diagonal mosaic stitch as my background. And so then I'm just inside here, I'm just doing continental and basket weave so that the background pops. And I'm going to turn this into an envelope pillow with piping around the edge. The whole background's done and the coral part's done. All I have to do is finish the shell, but you can see where I'm at. I've done some of the dark navy. This is multiple colors of blue. And I'm doing this in, this is by KSH Dickerson. KSH Dickerson is the designer for this piece. And like I said, look, it's kind of warped because I've been doing it in hand. Diagonal mosaic is one of those stitches that if you do it in hand, it kind of warps it. So you just do like knitting, you block it on a blocking board and it'll straighten right up. And I'm going to self-finish it myself. Okay, so for the coral, okay, so I used, all are done in silk and ivory. This is 50% merino, 50% silk. And so this was the color natural. I've moved what I had left into another project, so I don't have that with me right here. But the coral, I did it in two different colors, and it's color 129 Moonlight Bay and color 128 Moon Glow. And you can see those are the colors that are in the coral. And then I have a combination of several colors here, and they are so close that you're going to say, Shellie, that's all the same color. And no, it's not. There are 4 different colors. It's conveying very well so that you can see the 4 colors. And it is color 31 Midnight, color 110 Blueberry, color 130 Moon Indiglo, and then this one is color 127 Moon River. And this is like that French lace. You see how it looks gray or it looks blue. And so this color is going to be the shell color. But here you can see see the 2 different colors right there. And so these are all the colors that will make up the shell. The main portion of the shell will be the Moon River. And so I've got that almost done. I've just got to finish that shell. It's great car stitching because that nice canvas, you can see it plain as day without readers. And I just sit and put it in my hand. And like I said, they call it scooping in needlepoint. We call it stitching in hand. And I roll it up in my hand and I just stitch on. And so I worked on that. And now I'm going to show you another. See, I love a needle in my hand. So I'm showing you all different kind of needlework. The next kind of needlework that I'm going to show you is Crewel work embroidery. And I bought this from the Crewel work company. I love it. The kits come in these boxes, which turn into your project bag. You don't need to do anything. And they're so well curated. This piece is called Secret Squirrel. And along with that, you get an entire stitch guide on where to start, what stitches to use, and how to do it. You can purchase the kit with video instructions on a lot of these. And Philippa Turnbull, who this is her company, she puts together some kits now. I mean, amazing. So if you've ever been interested in Crewel work embroidery, this is where you need to get it. And so I'm going to show you this real quick. That's so it shows you on that where to use what threads. If you've never done crewel work, you get an essential crewel work embroidery guide right there. And the books are so well done that even if you didn't have a video, if you just got it, you're going to know what you need to know right from this. Then you get the beautiful Appleton wools. It came with 4 needles because you use a silver needle for 2 threads and use a gold needle for 1. And then there's some beads, and so it came with beads and beading needle. And I started this piece, and this is where I'm at. I love this. The English call these little hills hummocks. And so anyway, it tells you, and this is 3 different types of thread. That's a long and short stitch, and it makes it give it a painted effect. And so that's so fun, and I got that done. Isn't it pretty? So I got my 3 hummocks done, and this is a twill linen. It's very thick because you're really pulling it through there to lay in this thick wool thread. And so let me show you what it looks like here. So I think I did pretty good. And so wonderful. And you're going to see I got some other books from Philippa. And so that is crewel work embroidery. So I love anything with a needle. When I very first started stitching, you know, I've told you this, that I started with just what Americans call just regular embroidery, but it's surface embroidery. You know, lazy daisies, French knots, chain stitches, back stitches, etc. If you saw my video of the box that I did for my daughter and set it in the beautiful box from Old Colonial Needlework, and the design was from the Stitchery, and it was the beautiful heart with all the bullion roses, that is surface embroidery. Our cross stitch is cross stitch embroidery. This is crewel embroidery. There's all kind of embroidery. I want to know how to do it all. And I like to do it all. So I love to have a needle in my hand. And then there's needlepoint embroidery. So I've just showed you lots of different ways to stitch. Okay, so I worked on that. And now I'm going to show you, oh, before I move on, I want to show you this really quick. This is my needlepoint needle book. I got this at Hobby House. Kathy and David have the neatest. This is a metal brooch that's been hooked on there. And this, of course, you use a different kind of needle to do needlepoint. And so, and then of course, I do all my own self-finishing. So I have my finishing needles in there. And so anyway, but this was perfect for me to put my needlepoint needles and my finishing needles for my needlepoint in. But I just wanted to show it to you because if you ever go to Hobby House Needleworks, they have got the neatest stuff. And this is all handmade. Like I said, the maker put a beautiful brooch on it. It's just, you never know what you're going to find up at Hobby House. You need to check it out. And they have lots of things on the internet as well. And so do check that out. Okay, moving on. Let me show you my knitting. I had told you I was going to start the Ampir scarf collar. And I will have all this listed down below on how you can get this. Or the name of the pattern and the maker. And the maker, she is from the Ukraine. I don't know if I could pronounce her name. Anyway, this is it. This is the Ampir scarf collar. And what this is a scarf that you can put on and wear, and when you arrive you just leave it on and it's part of your outfit. And so I used a number 7 Knitter's Pride Dream needle, and I used Cascade Yarns 220 superwash wool in the color 806, and this is the color I used. And let me just put it on. Isn't it pretty? And you put it on. Isn't it's just the prettiest thing? And so you put it on and wear it. And when you arrive where you are, it's an accessory. And you're still warm. Is that not beautiful? I absolutely love it. And I want to make another one. I have a charcoaly dark gray. And I took it with me to Florida, but I never did get to finish it. But so this is what it looks like up close. The Ampir scarf collar. Isn't it pretty? I started and finished that. So that is another finish. And then I have one more thing that I worked on. I started a crochet blanket. Have you seen Call the Midwife? There's a show called The Midwife. And this blanket was in a couple scenes, and everybody, including myself, went crazy over it. And so I want to make I want something at my Florida house from all my making modalities on my hair. I was just making sure it wasn't a mess. And so I've got to have a throw. You know, I'm working on a quilt that I'm hand piecing and quilting. And I have a piece that's 3/4 of and it's more like 90% done. I showed it to you, my wool applique mat. I didn't finish it. I'll finish it and I'll show you next time. But that's going to go on the table. I'm doing a sampler for the house, and of course I'm going to have a throw. And so this, I got a lot done. This is the Call the Midwife blanket. I got the pattern on Ravelry. I will link the pattern so that you can go get it yourself, and I'm crocheting it. This is addictive. Let me tell you my yarn. I've got a ball of it because I'm almost to the end of that, but I love this yarn, which is a very, oh my gosh, and especially after it's washed, it's such a nice yarn. And I'm using the color Ivory. This comes from Hobby Lobby. I'm using an H 5mm hook to crochet it with, and yeah. So I've worked on this. It's a 7-row repeat, and once you do the first, each little box is what gets made, and then I've done 9 of them across. And so, but to make one of these boxes is a 7-row repeat, and after you do the first one, I've been doing the whole blanket by memory. It's very easy. And so when I get done with it, I'm going to do a beautiful scalloped edge. And I saw that from someone else. So that's got, that's going to be a separate pattern. So when I get closer to that and I'm going to do that, I will share with you on that when I share this again. So I started this in Florida, and that's how far I got. So this is going to be a throw blanket for the living room, for the couch, for the Florida house. And that was something I did crochet. So I worked in a lot of different acumens, didn't I? Okay, let me take a real quick second, and then I'll grab all of my acquisitions and I'll show you those next. Okay, I'm back. All right, so the first thing I'm going to show you is I got the Hands Across the Sea, All Creatures Great and Small, a Treasury of Samplers, Volume 2. And I know that everybody has seen all of these being shown. I will go through it very quickly. You got the little bag, a glasses case inside your bag, a Mini McBean zipper pull, a Mini McBean needle minder, and a Mini McBean thread bling. And then as well, you got some material to make needle books or what have you. Okay, now I am going to go very quickly through this because, you know, I know that I'm already hitting maximum velocity with how long this video is going to be. Okay, so you got a coupon from Hobby House. You got a Hands Across the Sea voucher. You got a coupon from Fox and Rabbit. You got a coupon from Swan Bay Fabrics. You got a coupon for Cedar River Linens. And let's see, what else is this? Then Loopy Loo Designs, you got a voucher for Loopy Loo Designs. Okay, now and then a beautiful thank you from Nicola. Beautiful, beautiful person. I love Nicola Parkman. She is just the cat's pajamas. She is such an encourager, not only to stitchers, but other designers. And she has been gracious and so kind to me, and I love her dearly. Okay, so you got the Garden of Eden, Odile Francois, 1887. Alice, Lily, and Florence, Bristol Orphanage, number 7. V.M. Baker, Fair Play is a Jewel. Elizabeth Land, 1851. Emily Clement, 1885. Where Birds Once Sang. Winifred Seabright, 1828. Molly Stone, 1918. Mary Barldale, 1826. Elizabeth Parks, 1857. Rebecca Austin, 1893. And Sarah Royal, 1828. And then All Creatures Great and Small. And it's got a cat and a rabbit and some parrots. And so you get a heck of a box when you order these. And so thank you, Nicola. It's beautiful. Very excited about that. Always love to support her as well. Let's see what else I got here. I'm part of the Farm Girl Dry Goods Patreon, and I got my linen from that. And this time it's called Cottage. It's 36 count. And she also sent these pretty, I think those look so good with that. You could do something great. So you got a couple DMCs, and you got this fat quarter of Cottage that's hand dyed by Farm Girl Dry Goods. As well, when I was at my LNS down at, and I was at FAST, one of the ladies at my table was stitching a piece from my friend Arlene Cohen Works by ABC, and I fell in love with it. And so I went and I got Color Wheel Bouquet. Isn't that beautiful? And that's by Works by ABC. You can go to her Etsy shop and you can find that, Arlene Cohen Works by ABC. And it's the Color Wheel Bouquet. I got that. As well, from the Queen City Sampler Guild, Robin Lockoff from Old Willow Stitchery is hosting our stitch along for the year. And it's Mary F. Moore, 1847. And I got the kit for it. This is the stuff when you're part of the guild. And this is our stitch along. And that's from Robin Lockoff of Old Willow Stitchery. It's beautiful. Can't wait to start that. Okay. And then I ordered from Stitch by Stitch in New York a needlework canvas. And this is it. And let's see. I can't read who the designer is. I don't know who the designer is, but I actually was at, the reason why I ordered this is because you could go to Stitch by Stitch, their website. I found it on their website. I was at the Crafty Framer down in Largo, and I was picking my frames out, and actually this was finished and sitting on the table, and it was one of the employees from the Flying Needle who had stitched it. Oh, she used to work at the Flying Needle, and so I was like, oh, you do needlepoint? I do needlepoint too. And so anyway, I talked to her, and then I wished I would have asked her, and so then I had to do an image search. I called an Anna from the Crafty Framer sent me a picture of it so I could do a Google Lens search, and I found it at Stitch by Stitch in New York. So it's pretty. Thought that would be awful pretty. What else do I got here? My bestie, sent me a Galentine's Day gift. She made me a bag for sock knitting. And if you're not going to be, her sock knitting tutorials, stitch along if you've always wanted to stitch, learn to knit socks, you can join. Go join her Patreon, Tiger Lily Designs. She sent me this. And a little, you can use this as a little pin cushion in your little Winterberry boxes or what have you. And then the sweetest card ever sent to a friend. And so Carrie made me that bag, and I got that. And speaking of bags, I got this from Emily. You can find her on Instagram. Her Instagram handle is I'd Rather Be Stitching. And she, I have a bag that I carry, and it has a case for my light. It has a notions bag, everything that goes with it. She puts plexiglass in the bottom so it sits so nice. But I saw somebody with one of these, and they were like, oh yeah. I was like, oh. So I went to Emily's Instagram and went through it, and this goes with the colors. This goes perfectly with my stitch bag. And so I bought this to throw junk in to stay in my stitch bag for when I grab it and go to Guild. And so that's I'd Rather Be Stitching. Her name is Emily. You go on her Instagram and you put me please or yes please under the listings, and that's how you purchase bags from Emily. I'd Rather Be Stitching. And she does fancy stitch work with her sewing machine. Everything is just so well made. And so you want to go catch M's stuff and get something from her. As well, you know, I'm in love with Shakespeare's Peddlers linens. And so I'm collecting them up because they're so good. This is goat cheese. This is 36 count. I bought some more heirloom tomato because I needed it for some Christmas designs. You'll see those. And then this is raw wool. And so some of these light neutrals, you have to actually see them in person to really see the modeling, but they're really just good neutrals. So I'm collecting up a whole collection of Teresa's Teresa's linens. I love them. I did my my Sweet Nothing floss drops on one of her linens, and at market she will have a pattern displayed next to that linen. It's so that shops, if you're buying my Sweet Nothing floss drops, they can pick up extra linen to make sure that you've got the linen if you want the exact linen. So and speaking of market, if you it's dark 30 ready to go, but I know shops are still taking pre-orders. Some of them are taking them to the last minute, and they'll just come to the rooms. And so if you want any of my designs, contact your shops because I can't sell my designs for 30 days. Okay, I got a couple neat tools. This is actually, I got this from a shop in Detroit called The Wool and the Floss. And I was watching their Instagram one day. They are a needlepoint shop, but this is the coolest tool. This is the coolest tool for no matter what you do. You can use this for your cross stitch. Okay, you use it like a needle minder, okay? So you've got your magnet, but on the front, you take the film off, and this is a sticky bob like. You put your beads on it. They go nowhere. And then you hook it to your project, and you can pick your bead up with your needle. So cool. I bought one for my needlepoint bag and one for my cross stitch bag. And so when you're done and you take your needles off of it, you just put your little piece of film back on it. It's called the Collection Designs Easy Beader. And then you stick it back in its little case. The Wool and the Floss. You can buy them there. This is neat. So if you're beading anything, no matter what kind of stitching you're doing, this will hook to your project like a needle minder, and your beads are going nowhere. So this is neat. The Collection Design Easy Beader. Got that there. My friend Dawn, Gamma's Treasures. Oh my gosh, I am so excited that she, because of tariffs, wasn't shipping to America. She's shipping to America again. And so she sent me the sweetest card, and she sent me this as a gift. I think I'm going to use this as a knitting bag. Maybe I'll put small needlepoint or maybe small cross stitch in it. It's got 2 pockets on the inside, but this is the neat part. I love these. These are like Mary Poppins bags. They're a wire. There's a wire in the top, so it sits wide open. So for your knitting, oh, it's perfect. But so she sent me a thread bed inside of it, as well as a notions pouch. And so she's back open to America. Gamma's Treasures. Go to Etsy. Thanks, Dawn. You're so sweet. And then for my knitting, for Valentine's Day last year, these two did a collaboration, and they did another one this year. Robinznest Knits. Robinznest Knits. She is on Etsy. She made this beautiful project bag. Beautiful, beautiful bags. I will put links to everything in the description box. And so I got this, and then Leap of Faith yarns. Oh, my Lanza. This was her Valentine's yarn. And it is called Funny Valentine. Isn't it beautiful? So I guess I'm going to have to cast on another pair of socks. Socks always. So, you know, I'm going to be participating in Carrie's sock knitting class. Now, I don't need to learn to knit socks, but I support my bestie in everything she does. She said, well, I saw her on her, her Patreon and stuff, and on one of her Flosstubes, she told the whole world, you know, I'm going to bring Shellie on because she's one of the fans of my my heel that I use, that I did a video for. And so I'm going to be on somewhere during the knit along. I'm going to be on there with her and talking with you about the heel. And so this is going to be for, because everything pink, you know, Carrie, I mean, she's the queen of pink. So this is going to be for my sock knit along. I didn't buy a kit. She had kits. And, but I don't need one. I got this. And so, but I'll catch you there. Get on her Patreon, learn all about it, watch her socials, watch her videos, and so that you know everything about it. So this is going to be, isn't it just so pretty? Robinznest Knits is the bag, and Leap of Faith yarns for the yarn. Funny Valentine. I'm going to show you a notion that I bought that is just so neat. It's, I got it antiquing, and it's an antique for increasing and decreasing rows in how many times. Is this neat? And so like for your rows, you can move it to what row, and it'll go up to 1,000, you know, because you get to 100. And then you can come over here and then go 101, 102, 103. Yeah. Okay. And so then if you're increasing, you can move it to how many increases you've done or decreases. And then how many times you've done a repeat. Is this neat? So this is going in my knitting bag. Oh, wait. There we go. It's in that bag. I got that antiquing. I got something else while I was antiquing. Is this not the cat's pajamas? This antique pincushion. Oh, I love this. This is 1,000% going to make it in a pattern jacket of one of my designs. So I got that antiquing. And then speaking of antiques, I do have a few more things. Look at this packaging. Is this amazing? So this packaging is for some antique mother of pearl. And I'm going to tell you, let's see. Nice Finds by JAS Etsy. That's how you can find this seller. Nice Finds by JAS, Etsy.com. And this is an antique mother of pearl needle book for, you know, I've showed you I have a shaker sewing box that Jude made from Timbo shop, and I'm putting all of my favorite things in there. Well, look at this antique needle book. I mean, everything that I'm going to show you of the mother of pearl, because I got several mother of pearl and some vegetable ivory. This is an antique mother of pearl needle book. Is that not amazing? And that's where I got it. And so, and then they went so far as to make this and then put this neat pin on it. And this was how it was packaged. What a neat Etsy seller. But this is going into my special sewing box with all of my favorite things that Jude made for me. And then I got some more antique. I got 3 pieces. And you know what? I don't know. I think I got this on eBay. But I got 3 pieces of antique mother of pearl. This is an antique thread winder. Can you see that well? And this is another thread winder, antique mother of pearl thread winder. Aren't they just exquisite? It's upside down. There, it's the birds. You see the birds? And then I got, this is a mother of pearl waxer. It's like mother of pearl top and bottom. And then there's wax in there. So I got that, and I think that came from eBay if I'm correct. That's going in there into my box. I was shopping one day. Can you tell? You can tell what my mood was that day. And then my friend Lisa Duffin introduced me to vegetable ivory, and I had never heard about it before her. And it's a nut, and it looks like ivory. This was sold as a needle holder, but it's not. The seller was from England, and they said this was an antique needle case, but they couldn't get it open and they were afraid to force it. Well, I thought that it would open at the top, and I thought, well, let's just try. And I gave it a good twist, but my hand on the bottom opened. And lo and behold, this is how it is. And I don't know, would a button go in there? Would a pill go in there? It's an awfully small section. The top is not made to open. It was the bottom, so it wasn't a needle holder. Maybe button or pill. I don't know, but I'm going to put this in my special sewing box with all of my favorite things. I'll put a little mother of pearl button in it. What do you think? So I got that. And then I did some book acquisition. No, let me show you this. I got my Keeper Club from Carrie. Let me show you that first. I'm going to put my Robin Lockoff piece in this. So this time it was beautiful because it was February. And I'm going to tell you something. It smells so good because inside of it, oh, it's so, this is 100% natural facial and body soap, rose geranium. And it smells like heaven, and I've been dying to put this in the bathroom, but I wanted to show you first. But so this is the Keeper Club that was for February from Carrie. And like I said, I'm going to put my Robin Lockoff piece in there. And then also you got, you know, she puts the cutest stuff in here. This looks like a motel key. And it says, enjoy each stitch. Enjoy each stitch. And so this is super cute. So I'm going to put that on the zipper in there. And then you got some strawberry, rose, marshmallow, salted caramel, dark chocolate, crystallized rose. So it's some type of goodness in there. So I'm finally going to be able to eat my snack. Let me see what it says about it. Strawberry Rose Chocolate Bar. Manya Chocolate is run by a husband and wife team in Wisconsin who love chocolate. They're dedicated to the highest quality of artisan chocolate. So this is chocolate. I know I'm going to have after I get off this filming. Okay, and I have another thing from Carrie that I want to show you really quick. And this was the thing I said that she has closed the website so she can do some moving. But when she turns it back on, you need to get one of these. I'm going to tell you something. This is an Amanda Murphy, and it's to hold quilt rollers. But that's not what's in mine. This is all of my needlepoint. Aren't you proud of me? You can fit it all in this bag because I'm trying not to be crazy. Okay. So I had a little bin that I had stuff in, but I have gone a little crazy. So in this pocket, I have all kind of canvases. But down here, these break into 3 and 3. And so I've got my tacks and my tack pusher. I've got threads in this pocket. I've got my Stitches to Go book and some, if I decide to use some stretcher bars, which I never want to use stretcher bars generally, stitching kit. And then I have some more threads. And then I also have some eyeglass case kits. And then in the back, I have 2 projects. This is a belt. Haven't started it yet. And this is a clutch. And when I get this done, I'm going to use this as my stitching bag for my needlepoint, and I'll put my pretty Hobby House needle book in there and whatever else I need. And so, but look at that. I'm able to fit all of that into this Amanda Murphy bag. And it was made for quilt rulers. It's quite generous. And I know that she has them on, I bought it on fire sale because she's having a big moving sale. She will turn the website back on. And I'm telling you, she has plenty more. And she even talked about this today on her Instagram. But I talked to her before I started filming. And she said, I already turned the website off. So anyway, this is an Amanda Murphy. This is the large. And look at that. I have everything in there so I can just grab and go. And so there is that. I got that. And then I had a couple acquisitions of books. And so when I made, I ordered these from the Crewel Work Company. This is Needlework in 3 British castles. This is amazing. And it's got crewel work designs that hang in castles, in 3 different castles. It's just an absolutely beautiful book. And then I got Crewel Work Then and Now, Exploring Traditional Designs and Contemporary Stitching from Hazel Blomkamp and Philippa Turnbull. Absolutely stunning book. Absolutely stunning book. And so, and it's just, so you can get this from the Crewel Work Company, both of these. And then I went on a date with my daughter and my grandchildren, and we went to Barnes and Noble. And of course, my daughter goes to the thriller section, and I go to the needlework section. And so this was something that I wanted to have, and I was so excited to see that it was there. And it's the Book of Embroidery, A Guide to Essential Stitches, Techniques, and Projects. It's got crewel work, black work, white work, silk shading, stump work, bead embroidery, canvas work, and gold work. Any specialty stitch. They do have another book that I want to buy, and you'll see it. It's the next thing I'm going to buy for myself. You know, the Royal School of Needlework, who wrote this book, also wrote another book, and it's got every stitch. It's got, I don't know, hundreds of stitches in it. They have a stitch bank online, and you can look up any specialty stitch for any modality, whether it's cross stitch. Many specialty stitches convey amongst all kind of, between all of the embroideries. And so anyway, they have that book, but I bought this gorgeous book and it's just, oh, I've been eating it up. And so I got this at Barnes & Noble, but you can get it at the Royal School of Needlework online as well. It's the Royal School of Needlework Book of Embroidery. And I got 2 more things and we're calling it quits, okay? So I got 2 sew sampler boxes. I think a third one. No, this is the second one. Okay, so I got 2 sew samplers. This is January's box. I believe this is January's box. Yeah, and so this one has beautiful blueprint fabric in it. It's got some threads, some confetti cotton threads. This is 50 weight cotton, I believe. Should be. It's Riley Blake. Egyptian, double glazed. It should be 50 weight. That's standard. No, it's 60 weight. And then inside here, you also got some 80/20 Silky Blend Natural, some batting. And then this Little Bubbles Quilt As You Go tabletop pattern and template. And then as well, the year-long stitch-along flowering block 10. And then you got the pattern for buttons and bows, and you just need a few things to go along with. What else do you need? You'll need a 7/8 of background, 1 3/8 yard of sashing, and you'll need 5/8 of binding to make that quilt. But you've got your fabric here. Or you could do some of this if you use your batting. So you've got your thread, your fabric, your patterns. And so that was January's sew sampler box. Now let me show you February's sew sampler box. It's Milk and Meadow, February 2026. And this is this is Farmer's Daughter fabric, and it comes from our very favorite lady, Lori Holtz. And then you get the most darling 1.5 inch by, it's 1.5 by 2.5 quilt ruler. Look at that tiny little ruler. An endurance blade. These are amazing. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic blades. They really do endure. Then you get a 6-inch pad of 6-inch vintage Milkmaid Star foundation paper piecing papers. And then look at this adorable little table runner. That is adorbs. I want to make that. And then you get flying block 11. And so that, my friends, brings me to the end. That was a catch up and a half. And I'm so glad that I was here with you today. Those are all my whips from all of my different types of stitching. That is all my finishes. That's the things I've been up to other than getting ready for market, and I'll be doing that. I'm probably going to be doing some lives on Instagram and Facebook. Maybe I'll try to get on here. I'll try to do some filming when I'm at market, maybe when I'm setting up my room. And would you like to see that? Put a comment below. Would you like to see my room? I could do a little tour video for you, or maybe to insert in the next video, or maybe it's standalone, maybe just a quickie. Do a little short or something like that. If you'd like to see that, comment below. But I thank you so much. I thank you for the opportunity to do a Maker's Moment today and to just catch up. I've had a lot of fun, but I think I've reached the end of every pile. But I've enjoyed being here with you, my friends. I hope that you are busy stitching away. I'm looking forward to winter, saying adios muchachos, because I've had very little of it because I've been in Florida, but what Little time I've been home, it's snowed a couple times, and it's supposed to snow before I leave and then rain. And so I'm not interested in that. But I hope the weather's wonderful where you are. I hope you're well, and I can't wait to see you again. But for today, I think that'll do it. So until I see you again, my friends, I wish you many happy stitches. Bye-bye for now.